Dawn Staley has identified next Aliyah Boston ready to put women's college basketball on notice. Dawn Staley has identified the next Aliyah Boston ready to take women's college basketball by storm for the South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina have featured a dominant presence in their team for the past decade, but following Camila Cardoso's rise into the WNBA, the college have been left wanting. Two-time WNBA champion Aya Wilson came through the school before starring for the Las Vegas Aces before the Indiana Fever's Aliyah Boston took up the mantle. All three stars have gone on to become household names in the WNBA after being NCAA champions with the Gamecocks. Despite Staley admitting that a force as great as Cardoso is difficult to replace, she revealed her big hopes for USC's Adhel Tack. Dawn Staley has already sounded ominous warning to South Carolina rivals. Matty Mouse has clear South Carolina women's basketball role under Dawn Staley. After enrolling early in January, Tack featured predominantly as a bench presence in the second half of the campaign, but the 6'5" forward caught the eye during a preseason exhibition game against Memphis where she scored 6 points on 3 of 6 shooting and grabbed 5 rebounds in 7 minutes and 38 seconds on court. Tack has clearly impressed Staley during their time together, as the renowned coach stated that she evokes memories of Boston during her collegiate career. "She's got the makings of what we've had for the past 10 seasons, which was a dominant big," Staley said. "She has the makings of that, so we're going to pour into her, not put too much pressure on her. Some of the stuff she did out there, she reminded me of an Aliyah Boston." Boston was a 4-year starter for South Carolina, spearheading the Gamecocks to a national title in 2022 and winning 2 successive Naismith Defensive Player of the Year award and 2 consecutive SEC Player of the Year accolades before stepping into the WNBA with the Fever. There, she was named the WNBA Rookie of the Year last year and is a 2-time WNBA All-Star. But Tack has plenty of competition to nail down a place as a starter, with forwards Chloe Kitts and Sonia Fegan starting at the 4 and 5 spots against Memphis. Star freshman Joyce Edwards is also listed as a forward, and super senior Sakima Walker remains the team's only true center. However, all the competition is good news for Staley despite having to contend with a selection headache. The 3-time NCAA champion coach believes that the players will push each other to new levels. "They only want the best for each other," she said, reflecting on the position battle. "They're learning, they're growing, and it's a healthy competition. So they are putting the pressure on the coaches to make a decision as to who to play when and how much. And that's the way you want it." WNBA players could deliver bigger blow than $40 million loss forecast as new media deal stirs major problem. No matter the growing love for the sport, it can't be denied that any league requires solid financing to stand the test of time. The WNBA has risen to fame in the last few years, and for this season's explosion, most of the credit goes to Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark. However, it hasn't translated into the trust owners seek. After all, a $40 million loss is not a small number. Amidst all this, the WNBA and its players' union have until November 1st to decide whether they want to opt out of their current collective bargaining agreement, CBA reports Front Office Sports today. In case the players decide to go for it, they can negotiate for a bigger piece of the financial pie. This indeed looks great on the surface, but it also means more financial strain on an already struggling league. According to the New York Post, the WNBA is estimated to lose $40 million this season, better than the forecasted $50 million loss. But obviously it's still a significant red flag. Since the league started, the owners have invested a considerable amount, and they are not hopeful about the return even in the long term. While sources say that media revenue will increase up to $2.2 billion over 11 years starting in 2026, this raises another issue. Along with revenue, players' salaries will skyrocket too. Moreover, the NBA owns around 60% of the WNBA, and it can go up to 75% if we add up personal stakes. So the NBA does have a big hand in this pie. But they're not getting back any money either. "We are not even getting any money from WNBA expansion fees," an NBA team executive said. This has also put a lot of pressure on NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. However, NBA spokesman Mike Bass responded, "WNBA financials, including detailed reports on revenue and expenses, are shared with both the NBA and WNBA Board of Governors. Amidst all this crisis, aren't there other ways to boost revenue? Well, a few are there, certainly. To begin with, a revenue-sharing model can do wonders. In the most simple way, this would give a piece of right and expansion fees to the players. Hence, this deal could make both officials and players feel like they're winning. The second one has to be a tiered salary structure, maybe based on performance and experience. This will keep the league's financial realities front and center. On top of that, while keeping the hopes for higher salaries, athletes will push through. Again, a win-win situation, I would say. Now, it's widely known that WNBA players like Clark, Aya Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and more have sponsors in their bag. So can't the WNBA as a league see new sponsorships, and its popularity will surely attract some of the big names. To add to it, the league can also focus on community outreach to double up attendance and merchandise sales, ultimately leading to increased WNBA revenue. After Caitlin Clark sets new records, WNBA announces major change. College football program draws embarrassing crowd on Saturday. The Week 8 college slate featured some incredible matchups across the board, including ranked games between number 1 Texas versus number 5 Georgia and number 7 Alabama versus number 11 Tennessee. While much of the country had their eyes set on those top 10 matchups, others were focused on the Kansas Jayhawks duel against the Houston Cougars. The 1-5 Jayhawks went head-to-head against their conference foe, who are 2-4 on the season. Kansas was playing a home game at Arrowhead Stadium, the home of the NFL's Kansas City Chiefs. While the Jayhawks renovate their own David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium, they will play the remaining home games of their 2024-25 season at Arrowhead. Kansas started the season at Children's Mercy Park, a soccer-specific stadium in Kansas City, and have since moved to Arrowhead Stadium. Expand article logo. Continue reading. Given the Jayhawks' rough start to the season and constant movement, they drew an incredibly small crowd against Houston in Week 8.